I don't know how. Like, I just looked at my clock. It was like 4:03. I'm setting things up, and now it's all of a sudden 4:08. Welcome to Mirror Domains Movie News, your place for entertainment headlines. And indeed, this is a live news show for movie fans. If you don't know how this works, we do movie news headlines here normally at 11 a.m. But today I had some problems in the I had to go deal with some issues this morning that took longer than I realized, and it seems to be the motif of the day, as I just described there, getting online to now. As it is Friday, guys, April 21st, 2023. Let's go through some headlines, some movie news headlines, and just talk about it. I'll also do my review for Evil Dead Rise, spoiler-free. Tomorrow we'll do some spoiler discussions for that. In fact, let me just see if I can fix that for tomorrow, the thumbnail. Yeah, okay. Please don't let me down. This just takes time. It won't take that long once I pull up the right file. No, you shouldn't be doing that. Jeez. There we go. Yes, replace. All right. Boring stuff, I know. I'm just setting up files so that they should work later on. Okay. Let's get into some headlines. Scarlett Johansson says she's done with Marvel films. Gwyneth Paltrow doesn't rule out a return. So, in an interview with the Goop podcast? No. Well, Paltrow on the Goop podcast. Okay. Well, she said, I kind of did all that I had to do. Okay, well, you know what? That's fine. But you know what? That kind of rules out her coming back in, say, like Secret Wars or anything. So that kind of sucks. Gwyneth coming back, that's fine. I got no problem with that. I don't expect her, though, but I guess Stark would have left all of those suits and technologies for them to use. Okay, but let's get into the prime of what Scarlett said. She said confirmed that chapter has come to an end. I'm done, Johansson said. Chapter is over. I kind of did all that I had to do. Also, coming back and playing a character again and again like that over a decade of time is such a unique experience. And yeah, she's played it for so long, guys. She gave us pretty much, like, we got her solo movie, and we've seen her in countless Avengers movies, so it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like, you did a good job. Scarlett Johansson, if you didn't know, is my favorite actress of all time. I'll watch her in anything. So, yeah. Okay. It kind of bums me out that you won't see her in Secret Wars in some fashion. Now that they've opened up the multiverse, of course there are other Black Widows out there in different universes. It's just maybe they'll be played by different actors. Who knows? They're going to have to change that up. And you know why they're going to have to change those rules up for the multiverse? Because this came up recently too, with Jonathan Majors stuff going in the background, is that, you know, Loki in alternate universes, he looked different, right? There were different iterations of him, different actors. There was an alligator, for crying out loud. So, I mean, come on. Doesn't it stand to reason that, Kang would also look different in different universes? Yeah, that's what I think. The explanation for Mr. Fantastic in the, Reed Richards, that Adam Driver may play him. Well, yeah, he looks different. So we got like our fan casting for him in Multiverse of Madness, right? With Jonathan Krasinski. So it's kind of like John Krasinski came in, and it was kind of like, yeah, they look different. So it's kind of like, no, I'm thinking it's just John Krasinski, right? Yeah. Sorry. Just John. Yeah. I'm sorry. I got confused there between John Krasinski and Jonathan Majors. But anyway, you get what I'm talking about here, right? So it kind of sucks that she'll be done. But hey, you know what? Somebody else stepping into that role. Have Emily Blunt play her, because she was originally supposed to play her, right? Yeah, just do a fun fan casting like that, maybe. Um, but what did Gwyneth say about her possible return? Doing Avengers was so much fun. No, that's still Johansson. I was like 26 years old. I was single. It was fun. That's because you didn't meet me yet. No. Anyway, Paltrow, what did she say? I think you may come back at some point, Johansson told Paltrow, to which Paltrow quipped, really? A 65-year-old Pepper Potts? How great. Oh, that sounded sarcastic. So this must have come up in some kind of interview. 100% that's happening. I can see it. They're never going to let you go. Break out of that wig, baby, Johansson added. Yeah. So it sounds like, well, you know, and that's what's cool too, is that it seems like these characters or these actors, they respect each other, right? They enjoy talking with each other, and that's always good. That's good to hear. Just kind of like give the old thumbs up. I love when actors stay friends after projects instead of like hating each other, right? All right, let's continue on with the Marvel. Well, that's not really Marvel. The Sonyverse, right? Got some casting news. Maybe Juno Temple in talks to join Tom Hardy in Venom 3. Cool. I do like Juno Temple. And third Venom movie. Guys, they really messed up with killing Carnage. Guys, Carnage should have been like a 3-movie arc. That anyway, knowing that this Venom isn't going to be the one that's going to be in the Tom Holland universe or the next Spider-Man iteration, that's fine. So this version of Venom is just going to be a self-contained universe. Might as well wrap it up with the third one. I don't really care what happens. I know that comes as a blow to some people, but hey, adding Juno Temple to it can't hurt. Tom Hardy. Yeah, so he'll never have the Spider-Man symbol on his outfit, but that's fine, whatever. Ted Lasso fans of Juno Temple will be happy about this. I think she's a good actress. I like her a lot. I want to see her in more stuff too. So that's a good thumbs up for me. I do like Juno Temple. What's next? Nicholas Hoult opens up on failing the Batman audition. Yes, I guess he auditioned to be the Batman. And that's why he's sort of like in the minds of people out there for casting for the DC iteration of the next Batman, where under James Gunn, right? Where he'll have where it's Damian Wayne is the Robin in that universe, and he's like the father figure. Nicholas Hoult could play that role. You can definitely age him up just a little bit to play that older kind of Batman. But I guess he auditioned for the Matt Reeves version. What did he say? I think Matt Reeves' ideas were fantastic and he made a brilliant movie. And I also think that Rob Pattinson did an amazing job with that character and I loved seeing him in it. So I don't think I would have done as a good job as him on Ultimately. I think we could have fit as well into that world that Matt created as Rob did. I don't think he could have fit into that world as well as Rob did. Huh. Okay. When they tell you the first time it's not for you, it's painful, but then you have to accept it normally. I think that's probably a strength of mine as an actor as well. So he took it with some humility. That's good. He took it like a man. I can pretty well accept they didn't cast me, and when I see the cast actor doing a great job, I enjoyed it. It's good. I'm like, oh yeah, they made the right choice. They made what they were doing. So I'm still like, oh, I'm not going to watch it now. It's a good movie, and Rob is brilliant in it, and indeed he is. Indeed he is. We watched that movie. We did a full live watch along for it here on the channel, man. And I'm still, it's got to be like, I did say that it was my favorite movie of last year, didn't I? It's just so wow. And I know some people's complaints that was too long, but Nicholas Hoult did audition for it. I still think that, yeah, he's got a chance to play that role. We just saw him in Renfield that opened up last week. So yeah. Bruce Campbell teases the future of the Evil Dead franchise. New project every 2 or 3 years. New project. Okay, well, The Evil Dead Rise just came out. And what did he say here? Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi are now working on an Evil Dead Bible containing plans for the future of the horror franchise. And that's exactly what I always tout, that you got to create a Bible for this stuff. And I wish that Kathleen Kennedy got that message for Star Wars. Get a writing team together. Put together a Bible. Don't come up with these magical powers that all of a sudden exist that didn't exist before in the height of the Jedi. You would think that Force healing would have come up at some point before that. In the height of the Republic, the Jedi never used Force healing until Grogu and Rey. I mean, yeah, to curb that, or at least rein it in, so that a new writer just can't come in and say, well, I'm going to invite the Force. Get out of there with that. So I respect Bruce Campbell for this. Evil Dead Rise did open up today. We'll do my review for it in just a few minutes here. But, okay, that's a good step in the right direction. That's something that I like to hear. That gives me good comforting. Despite what I felt about Evil Dead Rise, I'm going to be in the minority in this one club, in this field, guys. So let's see what he said. Hopes to have a new project every 2 or 3 years. Well, yeah, it's the Book of the Dead. That can show up anywhere and any time. Have it show up like in the Western or something like that, or ancient times, something like that. It's not just something that has to appear in modern times in the forest or in a condo complex like the new one, right? All right, so let's see what he said here. The only problem with that is that it can get out of hand if we jump into the world too quickly. It's hard to get it back. I think stories will progress a little more now. We're going to try and do them more like every 2 or 3 years rather than every 10 years. It's also the first time Sam was working with his brother Ivan to create an overall Bible that will give future writers and directors an idea of where this thing should go next to potentially tie into some other stories. To some of these stories. Good. So I think it's going to get a little more tied in as the years go by. So a small cinematic universe, but it's the Deadites. They want to come back. Yeah, but because it's all about the books, it could be a book in the past, a book in the future, and it's yet to be determined. Exactly, and that's exactly what I just said. Because if you're taking the Deadites coming out like from the Necronomicon, of course, it doesn't have to be necessarily this part. Take a page out of the Predator Prey book and have it just appear, or this. They went in the past for Army of Darkness, so why not like that kind of stuff too? Like, it's wide open. As long as you create that core book of rules, the Bible, which they say here in this better article, which I totally respect, and I'm overjoyed that he said it like that. All right, since no one's in the in the live chat, because this is not the normal time that I stream, guys. I'm running late today, and it's going to be a shorter show, but I always like to do some kind of a live stream. Where are we at? Now, I'm just going to mute the phone here. Okay. This video was awesome. What? All right. Sorry, I'm reading people's comments. I'll have to deal with that later. All right, let's make sure that I got everything ready to cook. Let's give us some red, shall we? Ooh, that looks very orange in the background now, doesn't it? Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh my God. There, that looks a little bit better, right? Put a little bit of blue into it. No? Do I look awful? Of course. You always look awful, James. What are you talking about? All right. Well, that's going to have to do. Let's do it. Evil Dead Rise is out in theaters this weekend, guys, and I gotta tell you, my initial thoughts on it are not gonna be what most people think about this movie. I think most people are gonna like this. I was mixed. it was not what I was expecting. In my initial thoughts that you can see in the video that I'll leave linked in the cards there. It was kind of a letdown for me. Maybe I had my hopes a little too high for Evil Dead Rise. Rated R. It's an hour and 37 minutes. No post-credit scene or anything like that, so you don't have to stick around for the credits. The synopsis reads, a twisted tale of two estranged sisters whose reunion is cut short by the rise of fleshy, possessing demons, thrusting them into a primal battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of their family imaginable. Now, if you've seen the trailers for this, the cheese grater scene, you were expecting a lot of blood and gore, and it sort of gets there, but there's a lot of setup. It starts off really awesome. Like when the opening credits come up, I'm like, I'm in. Give it to me. Give it to me, Lee Cronin. He did Hole in the Ground, like a psychological thriller before this that I really enjoyed. So I was like, yeah, I want to see what he could do with the Evil Dead movie. And it was just, for me, it was kind of like, if you don't like movies where it's like a real person wouldn't act like that, they'd be getting the heck out of there. They would be screaming. They wouldn't turn around. And if you're one of those people and those things get under your skin, then this movie will definitely get under your skin. It'll be like, no, don't do that. You'd be like, and it happened a little too much for me. And that's what I mean. It was kind of like, it didn't resonate. Because I'm an Evil Dead fan. I know the lore. I know what the Deadites come from, like the Book of the Dead and stuff like that. And the Necronomicon, which I don't even think they ever call it the Necronomicon in this. It's just there. They don't really explain too much, which kind of sucks. If you are new to this, I don't know how you are expect to follow up with the lore. Not once do they mention Deadites. It's just somebody gets possessed and... Okay, now let's talk about the cast. Is the cast doing, or did the cast do a good job? Anne-Marie Thomas is the one that is the mother, and she's the one that gets possessed that you see in all the trailers. She did okay, I suppose. But like the children in this, it's not because they're child actors. It's because it's just, again, with those tired tropes that we all know, that it's kind of like, you wouldn't behave like that. Why are you doing that? You just saw something really awful happen. Really? You're going to go back into the next? It's just like, that happened too much for me. And I think most people are being forgiving on this, on the Rotten Tomatoes, that we'll just see in a few minutes. But I'm curious to see what they're going to say about that. But the cast, it was serviceable. It was nothing that knocked me out of the park that made me say, you got to check this out. The kills in this, it's not like the 2013 one where you're like, that's really creepy, man. The cutting of the tongue too. It's not like that in this. I never felt threatened by these Deadites. I was kind of like, and it didn't have that cheekiness to it, kind of like what Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2 had, or Army of Darkness or anything like that. It didn't have that, which I was kind of like bummed out. I was kind of like, I checked my watch like 45 minutes into it, and I was like, we're just getting to the possession now? Ooh. And it's weird because that opening scene starts us off so well. It was kind of like, yeah. So let's go over to the tomato meter and see what people are saying. 87% by the critics, 86 by the audience, 121 reviews. So the critics really like it. 86 by the audience. I'm in the minority on this. I recognize that. So if you're looking for someone to say, guys, and I'm fair. Trust me, I'm fair when it comes to reviews. If there was anything in here that would give me hope to say that, yeah, I want to see more of this from this universe, like from this installment, there was like a small little inkling of it. I would latch onto it and try to amplify it, but it's not there for me. And I'm sorry to say that, yeah, Evil Dead Rise is not one I'm going to be revisiting. they try to do little nods and stuff like that. They do nods with like to the other installments, but not directly. They're not saying that Ash exists in this universe, kind of thing. It just or the 2013 version. It's not tied to any of them, right? But familiar things will happen if you've seen them. The makeup effects are good, I suppose. That's what I could say. But you just don't get to know the Deadites and what is their agenda really. So anyway, they just kind of expect you to know. I gotta fault the story structure for that, and which kind of falls on the director. So let's take a look at what the New York Times said. Cronin is a meticulous creator of stunning shots. His camera doesn't move; it dances, shifting, spinning, occasionally knocked on its side like a running back in a collision. What? So he's talking about cinematography. In the opening scene, it did have some good cinematography. But yeah, Donald Clark from the Irish Times. Is that what it says there? Irish Times? Yes. Says, rip-roaring entertainment that captures the tone of the first two classics while finding new veins to messily drain. Evil Dead Rises is not quite so ambiguously comic as the earlier work, but Cronin never forgets we are here to have a bloody good time. Really? Yeah, and as I said, they tried... Yeah, you set up the scenario that they're estranged sisters, and but they spent too much time setting that up. Like, it's supposed to have some big emotional payoff, but you never feel it. Like, oh my God, I got to kill my sister here. You know, she's possessed. I don't want to do this. But you don't get anything like that. You don't get any acknowledgement like that. But James, it's a horror movie. It's supposed to be casual. It's supposed to be like not taken seriously. But guys, it doesn't take that much to add in that extra like oomph. Seriously, it doesn't. Let's take a look at what the New York or the Daily Beast says. A lack of wit turns out to be the least of the problems plaguing this sequel, which proves to rigorer debacle only capable of clunky playing the hits. I don't know what the heck that means, man. Featuring big old buckets of human goo over Freudian grotesqueries, Evil Dead Rises, presumably someone's cup of blood-steeped tea. I don't get it, like, at all. What? Okay, so some people are complaining about the violence in this. It does get bloody, but if you've seen other Evil Dead installments, it's kind of like, that's par for the course. And actually, I would say it's pretty tame compared to the 2013 version. And it's definitely tamer than Evil Dead 2. It doesn't take the comedic route like Army of Darkness. It doesn't do that. I'll acknowledge that. But they've got a great scenario in there with the Necronomicon. They do. The Book of the Dead resurrects demonic forces for a rotten reboot that'll swallow your soul, but it's far from groovy. Yeah, and you don't end up rooting for the main character like you would in Ash or the character from the 2013 version. You just, how are you still alive? That's what you'll be coming out of like this movie. You'll be like, how are you still alive after all the decisions that you made? It was like, mommy loves you to death. Evil Dead Rise. So where do I land on this, guys? Obviously, I'm going to hit the refresh button because it's 4 o'clock and I set this up earlier in the day. So maybe the ratings changed. Maybe 87%, 86% by the audience. So, you know, I would love to tell you this is a movie where you just go in, you have popcorn, and you just kind of turn off your brain, which most people do, but it's still kind of thing. It's still got to pass some structure, story structure, plot details that I have to call it out for, man. I have to call it out. And it sucks because I love Evil Dead, and it... I want to see more in the future. Okay, so we just did a movie news live show where I talked about this as well. I want to hint on this. Bruce Campbell teases the future of the Evil Dead franchise. New project every 2 or 3 years. So we'll have to see how it fares at the box office. But this one's like, it doesn't pertain to, like, Ash maybe doesn't exist in this universe that the Evil Dead Rise is in. The 2013 version, maybe, that doesn't exist in this universe. I don't know. They don't really even hint about it too much. But Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi are now working on an Evil Dead Bible containing plans for the future of the horror franchise, and that's what I want to hear. That's good thinking, man. Because, as I said, the Necronomicon leaves the door open for having scenarios where it takes place like in a condominium, but it doesn't have to be like in like just a city or a forest setting. You can change the time period, take a page out of Predator Prey, and have it like a period piece, like they sort of already did with Army of Darkness, but change it up a little bit, have it appear in different places. Once the Deadites get power, what happens then? Right? What would happen then? There's so many scenarios you could play with it. So a new one every 1 or 2 years? I don't know. We'll have to see if this one resonates. It seems to be resonating with the fans by the Rotten Tomatoes score. So where do I ultimately land on this, guys, for Evil Dead Rise? I think I would probably have to land with a 5.5. And that's being generous for me, man. 5.5 for Evil Dead Rise. I hate to do it, man. I hate to do it, but it's kind of like, I'm a horror fan. I'm a horror buff. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I want to hear other horror fans talk about it because it's just boring. Sorry. All right, guys. I know that's not what you want to hear, but at least I got to tell you as I feel that it is. All right. If you like what you've seen, hit that thumbs up button. I have a feeling that you probably didn't like what you heard. So subscribe. Hey, we're on. People are growing. People like this channel, man. So come in and join us here. We have a good community. I'll see you next time on Mirror Domains. Yeah, I'm going to do a spoiler discussion for this tomorrow on our Horror Weekly Roundup show. And we'll see if the Rotten Tomatoes score has changed by tomorrow, or not. Bifer in the live chat says, hey, how's it going, Bifer? Yeah, we just did our Evil Dead Rise review, which I know I'm probably going to get panned for. A lot of people will be just like, meh. They're like, why are you saying that? I had the highest hopes. Well, so did I. I had the highest hopes for it. I had, like, I wanted to see, like, I wanted this one to be, like, kicking it up, like, on a good solid start. Yeah. But it happens. It happens. When you've got an opinion about a movie that most people don't, it's kind of like, well, it's hard to, because the only people that want to hear reviews are people who just love it. So it's the confirmation bias on YouTube. It sucks for people who want to go against the grain sometimes, or are against the grain. Because I'm reluctantly against the grain for Evil Dead Rise. I don't want to be, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you that I liked it when it was like meh for me, right? All right, let's continue on with some more movie news headlines. The Gray Man 2 is now being written by the Russo brothers for Netflix, which I guess means that I got to force myself to finish watching The Gray Man at some point, maybe. I love the cast, but I tried watching it, but it was just like, meh. The Russo brothers, outside of the MCU, have not quite found their mark yet, and that kind of sucks. They're writing it, so let's see what they said. Quote, we're in the middle of it right now. We're in the middle of working on the Gray Man 2 script, so again, everything is about the story. Okay, good. We are hard at work, sleeves rolled up, and more to come soon. The thing is that it felt a little too slick, a little too Hollywood for me. Yeah, like spies and stuff like that. I don't know. I got to give it a chance, I guess, because I do like Ryan Gosling. Chris Evans is the bad guy in the mustache. I hear was good. It's just Gray Man 2. Yeah. Gray Man was awesome, but in a Fast and Furious style of storytelling. And maybe that's why it didn't like that opening scene at the club. I tapped out. I was like, this is supposed to wow me, right? Again, hey, that's another movie where I was against the grain, right? I was kind of like, I was like, people loved it, but I was just like, it didn't resonate with me. I'll finish watching it at some point. Okay, let's go on to some other headlines. Barbie is coming out this year. But Barbie was originally going to have Amy Schumer in it. Why Amy Schumer left the project? So MovieWeb has an article up talking about this. What did happen? She said she had scheduling issues at first, and then we got a little bit more clarity here. So, Barbie. Though Schumer will not have any role in the latest Barbie movie, she does not seem to regret her decision. Yeah. So they said due to scheduling conflicts, but she said later on to the Hollywood Reporter they definitely didn't want to do it the way I wanted to do it. The only way I was interested in doing it was the way that she wanted to do it, with her take, right? Schumer wanted to make Barbie an inventor, but the studio suggested that Barbie could invent a high heel made of Jell-O. What? So she wanted to make Barbie an inventor, kind of like that, what episode of The Simpsons, where I don't know. But the studio suggested that Barbie could invent a high heel made of Jell-O. What? The modification to a rather great idea likely felt like a slap in the face. So yeah, there was creative differences there for sure, right? Yeah, so it just proves that when they say scheduling differences, it's usually for other things, right? And now we get a little bit more context. I don't know if she would have been a good fit for this version of what they were going for. Like, well, I like the teasers and I like the trailer that just came out. I'm looking forward to Barbie. I never thought I would be saying that, but here I am. I do like Margot Robbie and I do like Ryan Gosling, just talking about him and Gray Man 2. So it's kind of like stereotyping of women. Yeah. I guess she didn't like that and she wanted to try to put a little bit more social commentary into it. And they shouldn't really. It's a Barbie. I mean, come on. Have fun with it for what it is. But if you ever wondered why Amy Schumer left the project, there you go for Barbie. What's next? Al Pacino to lead adaptation of King Lear. Well, we know that Pacino does have high respect for Shakespeare. He was kind of in a documentary of the making of he wanted to do a Merchant of Venice movie for the longest of time, but it kind of fell apart. So he made a movie about trying to make it. He does like his Shakespeare, which is okay, cool. King Lear, huh? Cool. See him stretch himself. Why not? I do like Pacino. So when is this supposed to come out? I'm always retired, he says. I was retired when I was 25. I mean, who cares? Yeah. Hey, if you got if he's getting up there in age, if you got something that you want to do, go and do it then, man. Like, don't let yourself say that you're retired and then, hey, something really interesting in your field, because you are an artist, comes up and that's why I don't like when directors or singers come out and say that, oh, I'm retired. It's like, get out of here. Like Tarantino, I'm retired after 10 movies. It's like,
new memories and
are you
new
really
adventures.
Gonna pass up an opportunity
Visit Guelph Volkswagen or check us out online to browse our inventory or book your service appointment today.
That sounds like something that I would love to do. Yeah, I don't see that happening. But King Lear, okay, so you get it. You get to that age, you start doing things like that. I stayed away from it, but I think I've got to sort of talk about certain things. Yeah, because you're coming down to it, man. You're coming down to the last years. Well, in all seriousness, yes, he's in his 70s now, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, you got to do what you got to do, man. Al Pacino is in his 70s, right? Oh, no, he's in 82. Wow. He's 82 now. So, yeah, you're definitely in the late twilight, right? Um, King Lear. Cool. But I am an Al Pacino fan, but he does say some weird things at times that'll give you pause. I'd be like, what? I think he's just being funny with this. I think he's just trying to be funny. Al Pacino recalls turning down Star Wars. I gave Harrison Ford a career. I gave Harrison Ford a career. Not George Lucas, not Han Solo, but Al Pacino did. that you got to say, okay, that's a little bit. I think that's just his sense of humor, right? Well, I turned down Star Wars, Pacino says. When I first came up, I was a new kid on the block. You know what happens? You first become famous. It's like, give it to Al. They'd give me Queen Elizabeth to play. He continued, they gave me a script called Star Wars. They offered me so much money, I don't understand it. I read it, so I said I couldn't do it. I gave Harrison Ford a career. Well, by vacating it, right? By not accepting. Could you see Al Pacino, though, as Han Solo? I don't know. The thing, but if you okay, here's the other thing. If you're a Star Wars fan, you know that Harrison Ford was not George Lucas's first choice for a Han Solo, because he was only brought in to read lines for the other actors to do their auditions against, and Lucas didn't want to work with him because he wanted a whole bunch of nobodies, and he had worked with them on American Graffiti. So I seriously doubt that Al Pacino. I mean, I'm sure it probably had some impact, but like, he's not. Harrison Ford is a proven entity. He's a talent. His talent was proven. Between that and Indiana Jones, so he's just maybe being a little facetious there. I liked Amazon's Lord of the Rings: Rings of Power, but they're being sued over some copyright infringement. What? Well, they paid $1 billion to make these to make this series, and it can't touch in with the movies. So is that what this is about? Because due to rights issues, a fanfic author is suing Amazon for ripping off his Lord of the Rings fan fiction. Fan fiction, like Twilight is to Shades of Grey. I don't know about that, man. Okay, so I guess he had come up with this treatment of a storyline that was supposed to take place after the events of the Lord of the Rings, and it was supposed to have like the Elven Lord Celebrimbor in it and stuff. It was supposed to have like him teaming up with the dwarves and stuff, and I guess it's closely resembled some elements of that script, but it's Lord of the Rings, man. You're gonna, if you can't say that, because you used Celebrimbor, you're copying my script. It's like it's a character inside that universe. It's like me writing fan fiction for Star Wars and saying, well, no, you copied my Han Solo. I was like, no, you can't do that. So I don't know if this one will have any weight. I'm not going to read you his premise that dealt with the daughter of Samwise Gamgee. I'm not going to deal with that. I'm not going to read you all that. If you want to go read this headline over on MovieWeb and see a little bit more details into the details of the script that's in question, I just expect that the lawyers will sort this out. We know how fans felt about it. I'm one of the few people that actually liked The Rings of Power, and I'm looking forward to season 2 that is being filmed underway. It's just somebody else out there trying to grab a little bit more of the cheddar. I don't know if it'll work, because it seems like they went through some pretty meticulous details in refining the contracts to make that Rings of Power, like with the stipulations that it can't be tied into the movies. It can't be tied into the Peter Jackson movies. You can't do this and stuff. Here are the characters you can use, and you just can't infringe up to this point, kind of thing, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, those nuances were there. I just, I don't know if that'll hold any water. What's next? Okay, Patrick Stewart explains why watching the Picard finale was so emotional. Teases Star Trek return. Yeah. If you saw episode 9, and I posted a small short about this, the crew goes back to like the beginning, the very beginning. And I was emotional, man. Because it's kind of like they had wrapped things up to a point where it's kind of like, well, you never thought that you would see that again. Like, and I felt it for them too, as a crew. I wonder if they got a picture of the crew in there. No, they don't. They had pretty much said goodbye to it, and they never thought that they would get that chance again. To see that, like, yeah, that's awesome to me. It's like, wow. Due to characters, some events happening with certain characters, storylines ending up, you never thought that some characters would be there. But somehow they did it, and they did it properly. And this is like, wow. So, yeah, I can understand the emotion. And Variety has a big kind of interview with Patrick Stewart there. Very interesting stuff. And to think that Patrick Stewart really opposed, he didn't want to have mentions of the Enterprise in there. He didn't want to have the old cast members come back when he originally signed on for season 1 of Picard, which is like, what the heck are you talking about, man? Because everybody's kind of like, why didn't you do this right up off the bat? This is what people wanted to see. And we only got 2 episodes with them using the old Enterprise, but it's just like, it ended so perfectly. These characters got that happily ever after, they're sailing into the sunset story. They got to do it, man. They got to do it. It's not like Star Trek Nemesis where it's kind of like, is this really the end for them? No. You know how if you watch the original Next Generation, All Good Things really closed off that series well. They closed it off where it's like, yeah, that's how you end a TV show. This is how you end off your careers playing these characters, I would say. Could you have a movie? There's talks about maybe a movie could come after this, but it's kind of like, well, you don't really need to. These characters would just, come together and take on another threat somewhere else. That wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen. So it's kind of like, be proud of your achievement. You climbed to the top of the mountain. It was a little wobbly getting there, but now, you ended up. You're champions. You're champions, and you did it. And I'm happy about it, man. I'm really happy with Star Trek Picard season 3. It's one that I'm gonna get on Blu-ray when it comes out, and I'll just cherish the fact that I got to see it. Wow. Okay. Disney settles with former Marvel executive Victoria Alonso over Sunfire. It settles. Yeah, so she was suing them for faulty dismissal. But from my understanding, she was the one that breached the contract. She was the one that went out and promoted her own film when she wasn't supposed to. She kind of gave them the middle finger too on the way out. So it's kind of like, why would you settle with her? Victoria Alonso, I don't really care what happens to you next. I really don't. I don't have patience for it. When my understanding is that you broke the agreement, you went against the grain. So I don't have much sympathy. I'm just shocked that they settled. As what they gave her. Settled for what? She breached her contract. Yeah, exactly. Why they do this? Offer her an exit package to begin with and save the bad press. What's happened? Yeah, it's kind of like they buckled on something. Did she have something on it that would have countered it? It just, for me, it's kind of like, it's ugliness. And hopefully we don't hear much more from Victoria Alonso going forward. Because, What else is going on? Elon Musk claims he's personally paying Twitter fee for LeBron James, Stephen King, and William Shatner to retain blue check marks. So, guys, I'm not an Elon Musk fan. I think he's kind of a schmuck. I think he's kind of a twit. He's a moron. But James, he has got $1 billion. Guys, when your parents had a whole bunch of money. That doesn't make you smart. And that's playing out here now with this kind of stuff. I don't really care about Twitter. It's a disaster. People really trust him to be a CEO of 3 companies. We just talked about SpaceX blowing up yesterday, which I still find somewhat amusing. But I'm not happy with the way that people are portraying it, especially the mainstream news that are saying that it's a successful failure. What the heck is that? A successful? That's what I look at. Elon Musk. That's a successful failure. He's a failure, but somehow he's got money that should be going all away because he's burning it with stupid things like blue check marks. But like this was his attempt to try to own some people politically. And he's just another nail in his coffin as far as I'm concerned. I don't care about Twitter. And I've said enough about that already as it is. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for me today, guys. The Mandalorian Season 4 is officially replacing canceled Star Wars TV show. Well, yeah. I think Chris Schober and I talked about this the other day where I think because there was that show that was going to be called Marshals of the New Republic, right? That was supposed to be about like Cara Dune, and she was going to be like a policeman in the Outer Rims or something like that. But now at the end of Season 3, Mandalorian, the Mandalorian Season 3, Grogu and Mando are going to go off and take assignments as marshals, sort of. They're going to be kind of taking that stuff on. And that's no surprise. I said this before. Favreau has come out and said he's already written all the episodes for Season 4. So it's kind of like, well, how did that happen so quickly? Well, when he scrapped one of the shows because they're not going to move with Gina Carano for some reason, I would say, okay, fine, then recast her. But I still hold out hope that somewhere along the lines they could smooth the waters with Gina Carano and have her come back in some capacity. That's what I want to see. But, yeah. That's what's happening with that. I don't think there's anything much more to say about that. Guys, this is going to be a shorter show because I got to go out and cook food now. But let's see what people said here on the old Twitterverse. See if I missed anything. Melissa Barrera says she felt like safe with Paul Mescal, who she calls the best on-screen partner. He's so supportive and comforting. You just feel safe with him. It was beautiful to get this to share with him. She worked with Paul Mescal, who's going to be in Gladiator 2. I do like Melissa Barrera. She's in the Scream movies, so they play lovers together, huh? Was that in that movie that he was nominated for? Was she in that too? Huh. Fascinating. Beef Creator released a statement in Variety calling David Chloe's fabricated R story undeniably hurtful and extremely disturbing. Yeah, we talked about that in the week too. But the work to get mental health support he needed, yeah. There was that story with one of the actors that appeared in Beef. A lot of people are liking that Melissa Barrera, Paul Mescal tweet. Huh. Yeah, there's that actor that used a massage therapist in the ways that you're not supposed to use massage therapists, but lots of people do. Forced her to do things. So anyway, the FBI reported and issued an alert on how to blow up a pipeline could be inspired attacks on the energy infrastructure. Really? Oh, yeah. I guess if you have it's kind of like, what's that series called? How to Commit Murder? Yeah. Should you be really making subjects about this? Like movies? And yeah. FBI issued an alert on it. Yeah, because you don't want to give people, like, there's crazy people out there, right? But you don't need to fuel them, like give them a textbook on how to do something, right? Pretty Little Liars Summer School. So there's continuation in that universe. Armin first role promotes American Horror Story Hotel. I don't know what that is. He's going to be in Beau is Afraid. I'm going to see Beau is Afraid tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm seeing Beau is Afraid. It's a 3-hour movie, so it's kind of like Ooh. Or maybe I'll go see it Sunday. People don't need to see it. They don't need my reactions. I'll see it Sunday. Beau is Afraid. Sebastian Chabal, Rachel Zegler, Y2K. Filming is wrapped on the upcoming rom-com with Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney. Okay, Easy A from the Easy A director. There's Glenn Powell, Sydney Sweeney, that we're going to see in the Madame Web movie. Okay, ooh. What the heck is this? Who's that with the big hair? I do like the big hair. Where is this? The cast for Isa Menzel, upcoming reimagining of Faces of Death. Okay, so we got some more casting. Barbie Ferreira, Dr. Montgomery, we knew. Charlie XCX. Is that who that is? Charlie XCX? With the big hair? Whatever. But James, don't you know who that is? It's kind of like, yeah. I just said I like big hair. Okay. Aaron Holiday. Make her feature film debut in upcoming reimagining Faces of Death. And that's based on like the so-called the real life deaths caught on camera, which it wasn't. It was like reenactments and stuff. But whatever. What's next? That's a big casting from her. Heavenly Creatures came out a while ago. Okay. Beau is Afraid. Many viewers not take. He warns viewers not to take mushrooms before seeing Beau is Afraid. I just want to make a public service announcement and say, do not take mushrooms and go see this effing movie. But if you do, film yourself. But don't do it. Just film yourself. Freaking out? Yeah, I heard Beau is Afraid is a trip. It's Ari Aster's attempt at like an abstract film, kind of like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, but with Joaquin Phoenix having mommy issues throughout his years. First look at Mark Plyer's horror film, Iron Lung. Fellow YouTuber, Mark Plyer. Where the heck is his arms? What the heck is that? Oh, he's got sleeves on. He's got black sleeves. I was like, what the heck is going on there? It centers on a convict who explores an ocean of blood on a desolate moon in a rusty submarine named the Iron Lung. What? It centers on a convict who explores an ocean of blood on a desolate moon in a rusty submarine. Like, that's a lot of detail right there. On a rusty submarine in an ocean of blood. Mark Plyer, huh? Well, it's as I always say, guys, it's always about story. Champion story. Story. If you spent time crafting the script, remember, hit those certain elements of the story wheel, and as long as the story works, if you don't like it or you do, whatever. Mark Plyer, go for it, man. Artglass Vikings and Live Chat says a couple of days later of the party, just catching up on the news. Enjoyed Mandalorian watch along. James, great episode. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I actually really like the finale for Mandalorian. All right, it is 5:01, and I gotta get cooking. So, my review for this will be Evil Dead will be cut out and put up on the channel later. Mark Plyer to direct and star in. He's gonna star in it as well. Or maybe that's why we saw that Carolyn Rose Kaplan is based on a best-selling 2022 submarine horror game of the same name. Horror game. Okay. I don't watch Mark Plyer, so I don't know. Happy birthday to James McAvoy. Oh, it's James McAvoy's birthday. Happy birthday, dude. What's your favorite McAvoy performance? Yeah, Professor X in Days of Future Past was pretty good, but I still think Split, he's also really good in. He's a good overall. He is. All right, let's end off with that. Happy birthday, James McAvoy. I got to go off and start making some food now. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. Join us tomorrow for the Horror Weekly Roundup, and I'll try to do some shorts later on for the channel. See you next time on Mirror Domains. Enjoy your weekend.